more. All right, I'm going to hit you guys with some quickie questions because we got Mark Pancratz and basketball to get to. Then a little later, we're going to give you some numbers comparing Tennessee's pass game over the last 4 years. That will surprise you. It surprised me, some of the numbers. All right, Will, I want to start with you. The receiving core, I hit this one as we were ending that first segment. People are all freaked out because you've got like 6 guys now in the portal from the receiving core. But is the freaking out more about we don't have anybody left? Or is it more about, oh my gosh, we've lost all these great guys? Because I look at it, I think you're losing a lot of just another guys.
I think outside of Mike Matthews, I think he's a 5-star guy as a freshman.
Who they used last year like he was just another guy.
They did. And so part of it, because I think Squirrel White can be good, I don't know that the way Tennessee uses him is probably in his best interest. But otherwise, I think it's just the numbers. And also a lot of these guys were followed and you boomed them on social media and the recruiting rankings and on message boards. So really it's about hype that they've never lived up to for the most part with a lot of the names. But I think Mike Matthews is there's a reason he's a 5-star guy and every other school wanted him. You don't want to lose that guy. But everybody else, yeah, it's just the numbers.
I'll give Squirrel White credit on the fact that he did continue to play hurt. He constantly played hurt. That needs to be noted by me. Chuck, the receivers coach, Kelsey Pope, who was promoted into that position a few years ago, he's now catching all kind of heat because, one, the receivers were not great last year, and I got, again, numbers on that too that'll make your eyes bleed. But the receivers were not great last year. The passing game has gone downhill the last 2 years.
True.
And now he's got his entire receiving corps, except for Chris Brazzell, in the portal. Is he taking too much heat or no?
No, I don't think it is. I think it goes with territory, doesn't it? Who have you developed? Who have you got on the field? Who can you say, boy, that guy from the first game to the last game, he has really made a lot of progress. And that, we go back, look at it, what was the most underperforming position group on your football team? Name me somebody more underperforming than your wide receivers.
It's a good one, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good one, Chuck. You can leave now.
I didn't even pat myself on the back.
That's the George Costanza, leaving behind. Josh, the Kelsey Pope heat. Mm-hmm. Chuck says it goes to the territory. I think that's a great answer. Your thoughts on how much blame he's getting, how much blame he should be getting?
Well, I think it's very fair to wonder why hasn't there been more development and production from guys that Tennessee has signed out of high school and also that have come in the portal and been expected to make a bigger impact than what we've seen. From the high school ranks, I think Squirrel is probably the only guy that's done anything of note. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting here this segment wondering, well, how big of a loss is it? So Mike Matthews would be the guy that fans are pointing to. Okay, now's the chance. You really have to get something out of this guy because he has some level of talent where he should be able to make an impact in the SEC. But I think criticism of the wide receivers coach is fair because the production hasn't been close to what Tennessee's needed.
And I'll take it. I'll give him a little cover in that he was promoted. Mm-hmm. I'll blame his boss. If the issue is with the wide receiver coach, maybe go out and get a wide receiver coach. Josh Heupel, if you notice, on defense last year, they went out and got a coach. On offense, when he's had a slot, he's promoted from within. Offensive coordinator, receivers coach. I'm a big Josh Heupel fan. That just, when I see people who do that, it seems like they have a comfort level. I do my offense. I don't need somebody bringing in new ideas. I don't need somebody challenging me. That may be totally the 180-degree opposite of what's going on. But I just read the tea leaves, and when I see someone who never goes out and hires somebody for his side of the ball, makes me wonder how much he likes to have anybody that questions the way he's doing things. So I don't, is part of it on Pope? Absolutely. It's his deal. Mm-hmm. But who put him in charge of it? If it turns out that, this is him, well, who hired him? Bob Hodge, let me ask you. Fans yesterday freaking out on the message boards, which to me it's kind of entertaining to read. But just people going crazy on this thing. They're like, is there to be no stability? It's like, no, there's not. No. I mean, that's the problem. Everybody wanted this. Now you got it. And if you look at it, if you're sitting there thinking, well, Tennessee, you can't take a step backwards. Florida State was undefeated. They lost everybody. They had to rebuild their whole team in the portal. They won 2 games this year.
Didn't work.
So I think you're going to see more of that. Michigan wins the national title. Michigan wins 7 games. I think this is going to be the era of instability due to all the things we've talked about, NIL and transfer portal. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so, because if you look at what's happened in the transfer portal so far, I think in the SEC, Auburn, they're calling Auburn the big winner in the SEC. Auburn last year was a very mediocre football team. And I think Texas Tech has had a big couple of weeks in the portal too. Who's Texas Tech? So will you be shocked next year if those two teams don't improve? And Tennessee, who's kind of caught right now lacking in the portal with too many guys going and not enough coming. So I think it will change year to year. And you're also just caught, as Justin Hamilton said 2 years ago, you're always re-recruiting your own team.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many guys, you sign a 3-star receiver, you develop him in 2 years, and holy cow, we got lightning in a bottle, and it turns out he's going to be a first-round draft pick, and you're paying him $50,000 a year, and now somebody comes and say, we'll give you 10 times that. So all of this stuff coming into play, I think instability is where we're at, and it's going to stay that way. And I think eventually it'll catch up with the Georgias, Ohio States, and the Alabamas, the teams that everybody thinks is here.
It already caught Florida State. That would be
Yes.
a blue blood kind. They're not Ohio State, Georgia, or Alabama, but they're blue bloody. And you could make a case that Alabama got caught up. When's the
Yeah.
last time you saw Alabama go to Vanderbilt and lose? So you can make
Yeah.
a case that it's catching up to just about everybody.
And that's exactly what Clark Lee said at Vanderbilt. Tired of recruiting players, losing them to other schools when we can go in the portal and build our roster that way.
And now he's got a quarterback who has come out and said, I'll stay if all the other people stay in place. So, I mean, it used to be the kids have no power. Now
Oh.
the kids have all the power.
The kids got it all.
They got all the power. So the idea that we're talking about they promised or they didn't promise Boo Carter he could play some of both ways. There used to be a day when you could lie to kids left and right and say, oh, we'll let you play there. You get them on campus, you don't do it. Now,
Oh.
good luck promising stuff because they can just say, portal.
Your perfect example was
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb goes to Kentucky, promised he can play quarterback. He goes up there, takes 2 snaps in practice, and says, "Oh, by the way, let's see if you're a receiver."
Yeah.
It
Would he
worked
have
out
stayed?
pretty well, but now does that mean okay, portal?
It's also not the kid often saying, "Hey, it's the agent calling,
Yes.
or a parent,
Or
a
the father.
family member,
Parents.
yeah.
Who might
So,
appear on Instagram.
Representation. It's representation calling on behalf.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. When we come back, does Tennessee have enough depth? Are they using enough in their rotation to make a good tournament run this year? We'll take a look at some numbers that Mark Pancratz. Whenever I use numbers, you always hear from the people, stat geek, coaches don't follow that stuff. Yeah, they do. That's why every pro team, every college team now has an analytics department. Analytics means stats. And Mark Pancratz asked for some stats, and I grabbed my calculator and we got them. He's going to break them down next. Come on back on the Sports Source.